requisition entry icon is used to enter purchase requisitions. Here, users request the purchase of merchandise and/or supplies. Management and the buyer of the company have final say on determining if the items are actually ordered. The word "new" within the requisition number field indicates that the system accesses the next sequential requisition number. For new documents, leave this field so the system increments sequentially. Select an existing requisition number to access a previously posted requisition for further edit or review. Because the person requesting the item purchases may not know which vendor the company wants to use, this field can be left blank. Entering a vendor number here indicates that the item details, shown in the lower section of the window, default to this vendor. So if you know the vendor for the items being requested, enter the vendor number rather than selecting the vendor for each detail line. If a user has the appropriate rights, vendors can be added right now by selecting the New button. This starts the vendor window found within Accounts Payable, as if it was being selected directly from within that module. The requisition date defaults to the date Accpac is started. Enter or select any date. If the requisition has an expiration date, enter that date here. Because Accpac removes the requisition when day-end processing is performed on or after this date, be sure to create purchase orders from the requisition before it is removed. Select On Hold to keep the system from generating a purchase order from this requisition. For example, if there is an approval process in your company, you can select this field. If the purchase is approved, return to this requisition and remove the On Hold status so a purchase order can be generated. Optionally enter a date the items on the requisition are required, and then enter the person or information for whomever is requesting the purchase. The location field indicates the location that item details default. If the majority of the items on the requisition are for the same location, enter that location so the system enters it for each item automatically in the lower section of the window. The location code can be changed for individual lines. Optionally enter any reference, description, or comments regarding this requisition. Text entered in these fields transfer to the purchase order if it is approved and converted. The lower portion of the window is where item details are entered. Items can be entered using this container type interface, where users cursor or tab across the columns, or by pressing the F9 zoom key, or alternatively, by clicking the Details button. The zoom view displays all the fields on one window. Whether you prefer this view or the container view is your choice. When using the zoom view, only the current item being worked on is visible. Even so, the nice part about the zoom view is it only displays those fields that are accessible. Unavailable fields appear slightly grayed. Selecting the container type view, multiple detail lines can be observed, however all the fields appear identical, whether they are valid or not for the particular item being entered. Accpac skips the fields that are not valid, but they cannot be distinguished from valid fields visually. There are two types of items that can be entered on purchase documents: an item that exists in inventory control, or a non-existent inventory item, assuming they are allowed within the PO options screen discussed earlier. Enter or select the item being requested. Once selected, Purchase Orders displays the description of the item if it exists in inventory, and the default settings to several fields based on the item and vendor if entered. Enter the location where the item is to be received. The Drop Ship field, if selected, allows the item to be shipped directly to the desired ultimate destination. The items can be directly shipped from the vendor to the particular address entered in this window, a specific inventory location address, a customer's billing address, or a specific customer ship-to address. Enter the quantity to be requested in the quantity ordered field. This item is available in various units of measure. If the supplying vendor is known at this time, enter the vendor number. If a vendor number was entered at the top of the window, that vendor appears here automatically. The vendor can be changed if necessary. Again, if you don't know which vendor to use, leave the field blank. The vendor can automatically or manually be assigned later when the requisition is converted into a purchase order. The name of the entered vendor appears here. If the vendor has their own item number scheme, enter or select that item number in the vendor item number field. This way, when the purchase order prints, the PO prints the vendor's part number referring to the item you are ordering so they can easily recognize it. If the item is needed by a certain date, enter that date in the expected arrival date field. If the item is needed to fill a particular sales order in order entry, enter that sales order number here. Optionally, enter any comments or instructions by clicking the blue up arrow. Comments and instructions print on various forms and reports. If a manufacturer's item number was entered in the item number field that references an actual stocked item number, that number appears here. And finally, optional fields. This is where optional fields specific to this item detail are entered. Optional fields assigned to the requisition as a whole are entered using the Optional Fields page. Optional fields are discussed in a later session. The bottom portion of the window contains another row of buttons which are visible from any page. Select the Post button when the requisition is ready to be posted. Click the Delete button to remove the requisition entirely. To delete a specific detail line, highlight the line and press the Delete key. The History button inquires on previous purchases for item vendor combinations. For example, you may want to know which vendors you purchased fluorescent desk lamps from in the past. Choose item number in the Select By field and enter the desk lamp item number. Then click the Go button, this double blue arrow, to display the matches. This inquiry window also provides for further drill down into the details of a particular document by highlighting the document and selecting the Details button. This displays the invoice information as well as any associated documents such as credit notes or receipts that have been created that relate to the document. When the requisition is complete, click the Post button to post the requisition.
Let's take a look at purchase order entry.